Yo, what up, Street Togs? Eric Kim from the Eric Kim blog. So I want to use this chance to share with you my life story. So Eric Kim's life story. So where do I start? Like, how did I become who I am and where did I get to where I am today? So first and foremost, I think as a child, I showed a great propensity towards art. So there's this photograph I have actually of me at like 2 years old, before I maybe even knew how to talk. Just like crazy on this blue Fisher-Price table, you know, drawing with a crayon like the whole world actually outside didn't exist. And my mom started to feed my creative passion from a young age. She bought me crayons, papers and stuff like that. Essentially, you know, Kanye said it good, like, what is a genius? A genius is a kid with good parents. So my mom is essentially the credit to everything I've been able to become. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been able to, you know, allow this early spark in art to happen. And from a young age, you know, even like I was really into Legos. She bought me the expensive Lego Technics, which was like even crazy expensive because like my mom was like pretty poor working class, so it was kind of a big deal. And thinking of myself as a kid, I was like, my mom actually thought I was gonna be an engineer because I was so into these like Lego Technics. I was able to figure shit out myself. And I've always liked to just kind of like break things apart and put things back together. And so for example, I love to, you know, build, even like when I was younger, you know, I remember when I got my first computer, I like to break it apart and put it back together. Later I got into modding computers and whatever. And throughout my life, I was just, I loved art. And photography was interesting to me because I didn't actually pick it up till way later. Like even my younger sister was really good at photo. So I think maybe our family does have some sort of like artistic genes or whatever. But essentially it was able to manifest itself where I think I was a senior. I was about to graduate high school. And then digital cameras first got invented. You know, and I remember it like being like freaking like magic. I was like, yo, this is crazy. You could shoot a photo and instantly see what it is. And this is still when like point and shoot disposable film camera was still kind of a thing. So I was like, oh my God, this is the most amazing invention ever. I really want one. This is also before I went to college. So I asked my mom, and actually, I think it might have been my uncle who bought me like a Canon SD600 point and shoot. And it became like my baby. Took it with me everywhere I went. It fit in my front pocket and photographed everything. And actually I was able to really awaken a new artistic spirit within me because I've always had a passion for composition, like putting things together. And I think that's what photography is all about. It's about framing the world, and your artistic skill is figuring out how to organize the rectangle in kind of a interesting and novel way. But anyways, so I've really always loved art, and you know, I really don't think it's like genetic. It's essentially, it's just like all kids are born artists, and you know, I haven't met a kid who doesn't like to draw. And I think the problem is, it seems like our childhood passion for creating art is kind of beaten out of us from a young age. You know, we're taught to do math and to not like waste time on drawing and stuff like that. So I really think it's important that us as parents, essentially it's just kind of like encourage our kids to be artistic and be creative and to allow free reign to their creative spirit. And so I was really grateful that my mom helped essentially foster me and to pursue my artistic endeavors. And actually I was just kind of lucky too, where blogging kind of became a thing. Like I really liked using Zanga in high school. And you know, actually early days of the internet, Maddox, M-A-D-D-O-X-X, you know, this angry pirate dude blogger, he's like one of the OG like viral bloggers. And he was great because I've always kind of liked humor, and you know, he was able to be so non-PC in a time where, you know, just like saying, oh, you know, why you should beat your kids. And I'm like, this is hilarious. And then, you know, as an Asian kid, I was like, yo, I totally agree with this. But anyways, started writing ridiculous blog posts. And I think all of these things just kind of was able to dovetail, where I was able to combine my interest, my passion of blogging with photography. Street photography was also interesting to me because, like, to just photograph, like, I like photographing people, but at the same time, like, photographing like portraiture and model shoots, fashion, blah blah, it's just like too much work. Like, I don't like to I don't like to coordinate and stuff like that. And so street photography was great because it required no preparation. I could just go outside and just do it. And so, you know, I still like to photograph everything. Like, you know, I like to photograph trees and plants and whatever, but still ultimately for me, I'm interested in humans, I'm interested in human beings, and that's the thing that drives me the most. And, you know, even I studied sociology in college, so it kind of gave me a chance to really, you know, think to myself, the philosophy of humans, the art of humans, and to me there's so many different opportunities for us artists, us creators, and us individuals to embrace artwork in general. But anyways, so that's just kind of like a brief story of how I got started. And this is also another thing I learned for myself. The thing that I actually care about the most, ever since I was a kid, is freedom. Freedom to do whatever I want on my own schedule, freedom to go outdoors, to walk around, to talk, whatever. And also like freedom of speech too. Like, I'm probably one of the most politically incorrect people you've ever met. Like, I definitely have a potty mouth. But like, corporate world life, even to some extent college, it's like, it kind of perverts you in sort of a way where it just kind of tells you, you shouldn't be you, you shouldn't talk the way you do, and you're a bad person and listen to me, kind of thing. And so even like working, you know, I worked like just like a tech job for like about a year, like less than a year, like 10 months. Yo, it took me 10 years to unlearn the BS of 10 months of just working in a corporate environment. You know, all these like petty office politics and so forth. And I definitely got suckered by this notion of like, you know, wanting to make more money and social competition, whatever. But fast forward, my initial impetus to actually start blogging and doing street photography, blah blah, workshops full time, it was totally by randomness and chance and chaos, where I was planning my exit for a while, but I never really had the opportune moment to do so. And then actually what happened was, you know, the company went public, it crashed, half the company got laid off. And so when I got made redundant, that was like, yo, this is my fucking golden opportunity. If this ain't a sign from God, I don't know what is. And, you know, I just thought to myself practically, yo, worst case scenario, I could pursue this full-time photography, blogging thing, blah, blah. Worst case scenario, I could just move in back with my mom. Best case scenario, I can make this work. So that's how essentially I was able to transform my passion into, you know, my career, my work, or whatever. And, you know, obviously I worked really hard and I got really lucky. I got, you know, a lot of mentors that helped me along the way. So I don't take, you know, I only take credit for in terms of the hard work in the industry and the hustling that I personally did, and also my risk taking. But, you know, I think there's so much to life which is just kind of outside of our hands. And so it's not even about like being able to control what happens to you. It's more about controlling how you decide to respond and how much courage you decide to exhibit. And so even now with this zombie apocalypse upon us, I find it very interesting because like people's true colors start to really reveal themselves. So, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, I wish I could work from home or be self-employed or have more free time. And now that we're actually experiencing it, it's really a genuine time where you could actually really kind of reevaluate everything. And even like right now, what I find so interesting, capitalism and consumerism right now is essentially on pause. And I think that people are just kind of freaking out because people just don't know what to do with themselves. Like, they're spending a lot more time at home around their kids, their families, their spouses. And so this is actually another funny thing too, is that like, if you spend all day with your kids or your spouse, it kind of shows whether you really like them or not. Sounds bad, right? But I think it's true. And so, you know, when people are like, oh, you know, poor parents had to take care of their kids, I'm like, okay, I get it, but like, you know, shouldn't people be like, I'm happy to spend more time with my kids or whatever it is? But anyways, let me go back to the topic at hand. So right now, we're essentially seeing Society 2.0, this new reshuffling, and I was thinking about it too, where I remember so desperately, and this is like maybe 2010, 2011 when I got my first job out of college. I was like, yo, this is stupid. Why am I fucking having to go into an office? I could do all this work remotely. And I remember trying to sneak and work from home as much as humanly possible, and I kind of got in trouble for it, but you know, still smart on me. So I'm like, yo, now that we have this unique opportunity that we can all just kind of work from home, why don't we just milk it? And then, you know, people are like, oh, you know, you shouldn't milk your employee, that's so bad. But I'm like, yo, you gotta, nah, like, dude, this is also another thing too. After I got made redundant from my company, I realized the company does not give a fuck about you. Zero. Because like, what's the point of a company? The point of a company is to maximize profits. I mean, like, this is different than like if you're a small business owner. That's different from like being this like big anonymous corporation. Like, for example, if you work for Google or any of the big time companies, whatever, yo, milk that bad boy, like milk that golden udder for all it's worth, and like sip from the teats of freedom. And so this could be your unique opportunity to start your side hustle, to start your own website, to, you know, just go to bluehost.com, make a website, wordpress.org, start blogging, start uploading stuff to your YouTube channel, whatever it may be, and really kind of use this opportunity for arts creation. And I think the talk right now is that like, some people are being confined about their home, but some people kind of aren't. And like, even in the Bay Area, the whole thing is like, oh, you know, you can't, like, the media kind of makes it a little bit confused in the sense that I think people think that it means to say that you can't leave your house, but actually no, you can still go out, you know, go out to the nature, get some fresh air, walk around the block, go hiking, see some trees, whatever. Use this as a unique opportunity where the whole world's on pause. Like, if you're not that productive at work, no one really cares. So you could use this chance to just go outdoors, walk around, even walk around the block for 5 minutes, make sure, whatever. And use this time to clear your mind, to really reflect on life, to reflect on your life goals. You know, consider a life, right? It's so interesting. A life where you cannot travel, you cannot go to the mall, you can't buy anything, you can't even, like, even right now, it kind of makes no sense to buy a car, so you can't buy your Lambo. You can't go to a restaurant, you can't go to bars, you can't go out. So there's really nothing practical you can spend your money on besides maybe, you know, buying food. Like, it's so funny too, because like even now people, oh, you know, running out of toilet paper. It's like, yo, you know, there's this thing called a bidet, or you could be like people back in the day. You just like, you know, wash your butt with water and just, you know, wash your hands afterwards. So I don't know, who knows? Maybe this might be a good time to buy a bidet. But anyways, so back to the topic at hand. Right now is such an opportune moment where society is kind of reshuffling, Society 2.0, where you're probably going to be able to work remotely, and also like, let's say in the society where you don't even need a car, you're not going to go out and eat. So we don't actually need that much money. You just have to make sure to feed yourself. And I think it's going to be funny too, because like probably more people are probably going to have to cook from home too. So, you know, just buy a $25 crock pot. You could buy cheap cuts of meat. I personally, you know, me and Cindy, we go to the place called Stop and Shop. You could buy pork for 99 cents a pound, ground beef for like $2.99 a pound, or like chicken leg quarters for like 99 cents a pound. So we're just eating a lot of that, kale, collard greens, whatever, and just, yeah, just make your own coffee at home. And so you should, in theory, be able to save so much money. And like ultimately, like, this is what I'm starting to realize. If you're working from home, you're doing this and that, like, you don't even need a phone. You might only need a phone to make phone calls, but like, you're not gonna be out and about with your iPhone, whatever. It's like, we don't really need to buy a new iPhone. You know, there's no good reason you need to buy a new digital camera, I suppose. And you know, because we can't travel, what are you gonna do with a digital camera just sitting at home? I would just suggest walk around the block, shoot some pictures of whatever you find interesting, or just shoot selfies of yourself, or photograph your family or your partner, your kids, whatever it is. Photograph trees, photograph different colors. And so anyways, I don't know, like, I know I'm not supposed to say this, but the zombie apocalypse that we're experiencing is from a sociological perspective, it's like hyper fascinating to me. I'm like, it's so weird and fascinating to me. And I know, like, I'm lucky because I'm self-employed and I don't read the news. I intentionally haven't read the news for the last maybe like 5 or 6 years. So, you know, I feel pretty calm and zen. Cindy's hearing more news through like the university, whatever. And also my friends in Silicon Valley Tech, whatever. But it's nice, I'm just like calling my friends, you know, going outdoors more, looking at nice trees. Yo, look at this. Kind of nice and verdant. Yeah, so I'm actually, ironically enough, using this chance to go outdoors more because, like, also, let's say, you know, Rhode Island, they decide to say you can't leave your house. Then I'm like, man, I'm gonna enjoy all the fresh air while I can. But anyways, that's just a quick tidbit of my personal life story. I don't know what your life story is, but maybe you could use this chance to, you know, your activity could be, you know, start your own YouTube channel. If you have a Gmail account, you already have a YouTube channel. Just download the YouTube app on your phone, whatever. Just put your camera to selfie mode and just record, just like real brief, like what your life story is. And maybe just leave a comment down below and just share your own personal life story. And then maybe we could subscribe to each other's channels or whatever. But yeah, like, just obviously, you know, this situation is shitty for a lot of people. But, you know, what if we sit around and complain? It's not gonna benefit us anyhow. And truth be told, no one's really to blame for this situation. It's just like, life is cruel, life is random. But it seems like the stoic thing we could do is figure out how to extract the maximum out of this situation and have it personally benefit yourself.